Namaste. In this talk, we will speak about one portion of Chapter 8 of the Stri Dharma Paddhatih. This chapter covers the practices pertaining to Dehali Puja, worshipping the threshold of the main door. Also, drawing of the swastika and the Rangavalli, or the Rangoli as we popularly know it. In this talk, we will cover the significance of Dehali Puja, and in subsequent talks, we will speak about the swastika and Rangavalli. The Shastras make a very important statement regarding the importance of Dehali Puja by saying that if the Dehali is left empty, it can lead to the entire kula becoming empty, shunya. This is a reference to something that could cause barrenness or infertility. Therefore, it deserves much deeper introspection. Let's first look at the verses. Ashunya Dehali Karya Pratah Kale Visheshatah Yasyaha Shunya Bhavetsa Tu Shunyam Tasyaha Kulam Bhavet. The Dehali threshold should not be left empty, especially in the dawn, Pratah Kala. Where it is left empty, that kula or family will be empty, meaning without progeny. The next verse says, Udumbare vase nityam bhavani sarva devata tatassa pratyaham puja gandha pushpaksha tadibihi. At the Udumbara, which is the lintel, Bhavani and all devatas always reside. Hence, every day, puja should be performed with incense, gandha, flowers, pushpa, akshata, which is unbroken rice grains coated with turmeric. The third verse on Dehali Puja says, Padasya sparshanam tatra asampuja cha langhanam kurvanna sukhamapnoti tasmat tat parivarjayet. Touching the threshold with the feet or crossing over it before doing the puja should be avoided, as these activities will take away sukha, happiness. In the ancient days, the way in which this was understood was through the science of Vastu Shastra. According to Vastu, the main door or the entrance of the home called Dwara. On top of it, the lintel was called Udumbara. And the two sides that frame the door, along with the space created in between the Udumbara and the two sides, was known as Dehali. The capital of India, which we say as Delhi or Dilli, actually in Sanskritam, it is Dehali. Dehali means the entrance, the threshold. And this is the Dehali referred to in the Shastras, the space between the lintel and the two sides of the main door. And they say that this space must not be left empty. In Vastu, it is understood that all energies, whether they are auspicious energies of devatas or the inauspicious energies of other beings, they enter the home via the mouth of the Vastu Purusha, and the main door constitutes the mouth of the Vastu Purusha. If we have to understand this in the language of modern science, then we can look at both the particle and the wave nature of matter. If you look at the particle nature, and if you consider the way in which sound behaves at different frequencies, we will understand that that which is known as inauspicious, ashubha, is a reference to very low frequency sound waves. When the sound is of an audible frequency, So the human ear can perceive sound between 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. But anything below 500 hertz is considered as low frequency sound, and these are generally perceived as vibration rather than heard as sound. So when it is audible sound, that has a larger frequency. A larger frequency means a wave that has a greater height, a greater amplitude, and a shorter wavelength. Such sound waves will hit objects and will be reflected by them. But as the wavelength increases and the amplitude or the height of the wave decreases, we get the very low frequency sound waves, which are felt as vibrations rather than heard. And these are also called noise waves. Even in acoustics, it is understood that if humans are exposed to a lot of these noise vibrations, it can create vertigo, anxiety, headaches, and so on. In the understanding of the Indian sciences, this is what we refer to as inauspicious vibrations. Because they have a lesser height and a broader wavelength, they can easily slip underneath the door, between the cracks, and so on. So it is necessary to guard these spaces. One way in which it is done is by placing a wooden threshold at the bottom of the main door. If we see the ancestral homes, we'll find that thresholds were actually placed at the door of every main room of the home. This was to separate the vibrations of each room, because the puja room will have one sort of vibration, the kitchen space will have another, and the bedroom completely a different sort. Of course, toilets and bathrooms were never built inside the home for this very reason, to avoid the mixing up of different types of vibrations. But coming back to the main door, we place a wooden threshold, and its height is just about enough to prevent the very low frequency noise vibrations from entering the space. Some homes, at the time of construction itself, they place either a silver wire at the base of the threshold, or some people even put certain gemstones at the base of it, or some may place silver coins. Why is this done, and what difference does it make? We will come to that in a bit. But when the Shastras say that the Dehali must not be left empty, it probably means the decorations that are done on it in the form of the toran or the toranam that women traditionally use to decorate the main entrance of the home. These could be made of mango leaves. One can apply turmeric and kunkuma over these leaves to sanctify it. We can also use flower garlands. In southern states of India, there is also the practice of using dried paddy. So the torans made of dried paddy are also very auspicious, and they can be hung at the entrance of the main door. In certain states, in northern India mostly, they make what is called the bandarwal, which uses cotton. And over that, mirror work is done. Mirrors are stitched and a lot of embroidery is done. Cotton and all these other materials used, such as flowers or rice paddy, they are all capable of absorbing sound vibrations. So when we decorate the main entrance of the door with these substances, with these materials forming the toran, we will be able to prevent these low frequency noise vibrations, which are inauspicious in nature, from entering the main home. The Udumbara, which is mentioned here, is the lintel as per the Vastu text. And it is called so because traditionally it was made out of the wood of the Udumbara tree or the Udumbara tree. This is the cluster fig tree or the Indian fig tree, and it is made popular because Guru Dattatreya used to sit beneath this tree and meditate upon it, and he had declared that this tree is very auspicious. It is a wood of the Udumbara tree, which is used to prepare the spoons used in yajnas traditionally. When we say that a certain substance is auspicious, it means that it is capable of holding higher vibrations of the devatas. So some people used to carve the forms and the shapes of deities into this Udumbar wood and place it just above the main door. And that is what is meant by the statement which says that Udumbare vase nityam bhavani sarva devataha. So the deities are present when this particular wood is used. So one can worship the deities present there through the puja that is done. The presence of deities means presence of auspicious vibrations. So that will also help to ward off the inauspicious energies. Now we come to the third statement made by the Shastras, which says that without puja being done to the Dehali, one must not place one's feet, that is, we should not stand on the threshold, the lower wooden threshold, nor should we cross it. If that is done, it can lead to taking away of one's happiness. The more strange any statement of the Shastras sound, we have to understand that our own level of science should also go up in order to understand that. What is referred to here, to understand it, we must understand the electrical properties of wood or wooden thresholds. Wood is generally colloquially referred to as an insulator, but if you study its electrical properties in detail, we will understand that it possesses something known as the piezoelectric ability. Certain natural materials, including wood, quartz, ceramic, and even the human bone, exhibit this property wherein if any mechanical stress is applied on it, or if there is any strain in its electric field even, it is capable of generating a voltage due to the piezoelectric effect. So in this instance, if we step on the wooden threshold, or if we cross over it and thereby apply either mechanical stress or disturb its electric field, then a voltage is generated in it. Such a voltage can also be generated if the low frequency noise vibrations come and reach the threshold of the main door. This is easily known because it is the same principle that is used in the stethoscope. The stethoscope also has a layer of piezoelectric material. That is why it is able to detect the very low frequency sound waves of the heartbeat and convert them into electrical signals. Whenever there is a voltage generated, there is also an electric field or an electromagnetic field, to be precise. So if a person stands on the wooden threshold, the voltage that is generated runs to the body of the human, because the human body is a good conductor of electricity. And as a result, the body becomes part of that circuit and gets impacted by it. If you don't stand on it and just cross over it, then also we are impacted by the low frequency electromagnetic field that is created by virtue of the voltage that is generated due to the piezoelectric effect of the wood. So first, there is a need to neutralize any such material before it is crossed. And that neutralization is done by drawing simple designs with the rangoli powder or rice powder, by placing paste of turmeric, kumkum, or gandha, that is sandalwood paste. You can also place flowers on it and rice grains coated with turmeric, that is the akshata. All these substances are capable of absorbing the electrons, absorbing and holding charge. Rice is a dielectric, and that's why they are used in puja, because they can hold charge. And when these substances are placed over it, it absorbs the charge generated, and then it is safe for the human to cross over. Just as we spoke about inauspiciousness in terms of vibrations as being low frequency vibrations, if you have to understand auspiciousness and inauspiciousness in terms of waves, then we have to understand the direction of the magnetic fields that auspicious and inauspicious energies carry. Anything that we refer to as Shubha or auspicious will have a clockwise magnetic field. And if we apply Fleming's rule as per physics, all clockwise fields will have a magnetic force that is giving, that is outward moving. So when the field is Shubha or clockwise, it gives off prana and it is conducive for all. If it is inauspicious or Ashubha, then the field rotates anti-clockwise. And if you apply Fleming's rule to this, it means that in such a case, the magnetic force acts inwards. It is pulling in nature. It draws prana. All this can be understood either through theory or, to make it simpler, we can also do a small demonstration of it to see it for ourselves. What we use as japamala is usually prepared or made out of piezoelectric materials. That is why they're able to hold the vibrations of the japa. When we touch each bead, we apply a certain stress on that piezoelectric material. And when we utter certain japa, the vibrations also help to create that mild voltage. So we can use a japamala to detect the nature of the fields. So if we place a japamala over a wooden threshold, before it has been decorated and before the Dehali Puja is done, we will distinctly see that the field is anti-clockwise. It is ashubha, it is inauspicious, which means that there will be particle interaction and it will tend to pull the prana downwards. Elderly women, even though they don't know the science of it, they will say by experience that climbing wooden stairs or walking over the wooden threshold will create a certain pulling sensation in the womb. They say this is akarshana, the force of attraction. How accurately they know through experience what science struggles to express through all these technical words. Now, if we do the Dehali Puja, as mentioned in the Shastras, and then we check the nature of the field at that entrance of the door, we will surprisingly, or perhaps not so surprisingly, find that it distinctly moves in a clockwise fashion. So we can ourselves know through this simple experiment how doing the Dehali Puja will change the direction of the fields and make it auspicious. But how does this affect fertility? One only needs to look at the many studies available on how low-frequency electromagnetic waves impact the female genital health and fertility. These studies are quoted in the book. A question may arise. If the rishis knew about the piezoelectric properties, certainly they would have known about electricity as well. Then why didn't they come up with the sort of inventions that modern science has come and patented? That is because the rishis saw beyond the immediate few steps and they thought beyond their own personal name and fame and wealth. If we try to think at all the things that ailed humankind and Mother Nature It all began with the invention of electricity, is it not? With the invention of light, our sleep and wake up cycles, and therefore our circadian rhythms, started to become completely out of sync with nature. And over a prolonged period of time, that is what has led to what we today call lifestyle diseases. All the fight for natural resources has come to fulfill the energy requirements that began with the invention of electricity. And as a result, all the exploitation of nature that we see today has come about. Not only that, if wood can generate electromagnetic fields of a low frequency, it is known to everyone that every electronic device also generates these low frequency fields. So today, we are constantly exposed to these fields, which enhance oxidative stress and impact fertility. The permanent solution is obviously to distance ourselves from those unnatural things, or at least to try and reduce the extent to which it is used. And just as the Dehali Puja is done to neutralize the field on the wooden threshold, the rishis also state that we must never directly sit on such materials. We must put the darba mat and only then sit on it. Similarly, some of these devices, like laptops and mobile phones, when placed on the darba mat, will to some extent cause lesser damage. And this also can be seen using the Japamala. On its own, the mobile phone emits the vibrations which create anti-clockwise fields. But if you place it on a darba mat, those fields change and become clockwise. We do not often realize the extent to which the rishis understood. When information gets mixed with personal desire for name, fame, and wealth, then it takes the shape of exploitative science. But when knowledge comes from the Divine Mother, it always comes with compassion and the thought of welfare for all of humanity. Such forms of science take the shape of the Dharma Shastras. Shri Matre Namaha.